G'day and welcome to JoeJoeMoto, and welcome to part 2 of the KTM 200 Resurrection video series. Alright, so as you saw in the last video featuring this one, we got her running and she's running absolutely brilliantly. Just a few little minor details we need to sort out along the way, but some of the mechanical ones, some of them are cosmetics, and today we're going to be tackling a few of the mechanical issues because we want to be able to ride the bike. Don't really care what it looks like at the moment, as long as it's functioning and everything works perfectly. So we got ourselves a little order of parts, so we'll check out those now. In our box of bits here, the most important ones are rear brake pads. As you've heard in the riding videos, we've just had 0 brake pads, so we're going to be changing the brake pads, probably do a bit of a brake fluid change and all the rest of it, and bleed the brakes and whatever. The next one is a chain roller. So the current chain roller is non-existent in there at all, so we'll see what we can do about fitting this guy. It's a bit of a universal one. It said it'd fit the bike, so we will see. Underneath there, I'll show you later as well, the chain guide has come off, so we've got to fit that back up somehow. That'll just be more of a mechanical thing that we'll have to work out and design ourselves. The next one's a kind of cosmetic-y-ish sort of thing, more so roadworthy sort of thing. If I'm riding on the roads, I want to make sure it at least looks reasonably roadworthy. So I've got a set of mirrors here. I've never used these ones before, so we're going to have to test that out and see how they go with fitting. And then finally we've got some indicators. Again, if I'm riding on the roads, I don't care whether they sort of work or not, as long as they look like they're there and they look like they might work. Yeah, that's all I want, and because it's not my bike, I bought the ugliest ones that I could find. So we're just going to basically throw on some front and rear indicators so it sort of at least looks like it has indicators that work. So I think what we'll get started on is the brake pads, fitting the new brake pads, and just getting the brake pedal feel a lot nicer. So let's get into it. Here is our current brake pad situation. So that will go all the way down and fully bottom out and not really do a whole lot. And then when we come across to the actual brake pads themselves, you can see there is millimeters, if anything at all. So it'll be interesting to get those pads off and check them out. And like I said, we might do a bit of a bleed and a brake fluid changeover. So let's get into it. Pull the pins, pads slide out. Yep, should be pretty standard. There we go. Check out that pin, that is nicely worn there. That's going to take some sanding and fixing, and I mean the pads will be in a different spot, so it'll help out a little bit, but we better give that a good clean up before we put that back in. And oh, I reckon she was pretty well right on the metal there. Just as bad, millimeters in it, maybe touching metal a tiny bit there. So on these old 200s, the brake reservoir, the rear brake reservoir is up here under the tank. So we're going to have to take the tank and seat off to do any sort of bleeding and whatever. So anyway, let's do it quick. Having the tank off now gives us full access to the brake master reservoir, I guess you'd call it. So now we can start, looking at bleeding the brakes and pulling that piston back out so we can fit the new brake pads. Give us enough room. They were so far worn that they need a bit of prying apart, that's for sure. Let's do that. Got any feel? She is dry as a bone, boys. Dry as a bone. I think the best way to try and push this piston out, because it's so far in, is I'm going to crack the bleeder, and so that it can push some fluid out of there. And I'll use my little fancy bleeding system. It's just a quick little story on Mr. Reese's bike. His old 200 once, I was doing the front brake pads on that and pushing the piston back out on the front brakes, and I pushed it so hard and put so much pressure on it that I actually blew out the sight glass on the master cylinder up on the handlebars. Oh, that was an interesting day. Thankfully it just pushed back in there and didn't need to be resealed or anything like that. Yeah. I'm always quite wary of just really pushing on those pistons so hard that you're going to, damage something or whatever. Just got to be mindful of that. So this little guy here has been an absolute lifesaver, doing all the work by myself all the time. It's just a bit of tube that goes into a pipe, and inside there the pipe sort of spirals around inside the whatever bottle that is, and it just helps it stop feeding back, and so you can do a one-man brake bleed, There we go. Worked like a charm, mate. Beautiful. Alright, now we've got enough room to put these pads in. Placed nicely up there. It's going to move around a bit, but that's okay. Alright, pads are sitting and ready to go in. Now we're just going to clean up that slide pin and get that ready to go back in as well. Locking pin back in. Like I said, there should be another pin in there right there, so I'll have to look at see if I've got one. If not, I'll just use a little bit of tie wire on that, I think. Tighter on it. There we go. Beautiful. So we're just going to top this guy up to the brim. Pull that right up. It's a nice dark green colour, and we're just going to keep pumping on the brake pedal until we see, instead of this brown old stuff, we see some nice new green stuff coming out. So you should over time see the fluid going down here, and then this eventually turn green. I can feel some actual brake pedal already, which is fantastic. Not too much air in it, which is nice. Yep, I am happy with that. Got really good pedal feel now. I mean, it's all flogged out, but at least you can feel it starting to brake straight away there, which is nice. Just be mindful that when you do top these up, any of the sort of bike brake fluid reservoirs, they have the little rubber jigger that goes inside them to help sort of, they expand as they expand down into the reservoir, and they do take up a bit of surface area, like a bit of room in there, so just be mindful of that. Don't fill it up too much, otherwise they just overflow everywhere. We'll drop that guy in. Yep, we didn't overfill it, which is nice. With the cap. Yeah. We got rear brakes again. Winning. Right, nice simple brake job that one. New pads in, flushed and bled the brakes, so yeah, brake pedal's feeling really nice now, and I guess we've just got to test ride it tomorrow and head out for a ride and see how it goes. But next job now for our 200 resurrection is the chain roller. So we'll flip the bike around and take a look under there and see what we can see. Fingers crossed one with that one. We'll just have to see if we can get a bolt in there or whatever it's going to look like. So flip it around, get under the bike, have a look. Right, let's get under here and see what we can see. Oh, okay, let's get comfy. All right, this is what we can see. Well, I can see it better, you guys aren't focusing. Come on, old girl, there we go. That used to be a chain roller. That is not a chain roller anymore, so let's have a crack. Let's see what we can do, hey? Dunno. Right, I don't know what you guys will see and what you will and won't see, but we're going to get this big bolt undone. What size do you reckon that one is? Yep, okay. Let me try that out then. 13, come on, where are you? I'm doing this blind from above the bike. You were right, it was a 13. Good job, thanks team. Alright, that is a nut, not a bolt. You guys are sitting there watching that, aren't you? Going, Joe, it's a nut, not a bolt. Stop. So does that come all the way out to here, do you reckon? Is that one mega long bolt? I don't even know if you guys can see that, but the kickstand, do you reckon? That's a big bolt. Anyway, we'll turn this and see if it turns on the other side here, I guess. Alright, I'm up above the bike. Tell me if it's turning, please. Is it turning? Yep. Wow, that's a big bolt, hey? Never hit the threaded end of a bolt, ladies and gentlemen. As always, do as I say, not what I do. Alright, so you guys can see what I'm seeing and hopefully a little bit better here. I've taken the stand off, so it's off the top. You know, this big stand section here. And it looks like the bolt's stuck in this little roller part here, like it's sort of jammed in there a fair bit, you know, not coming out and playing nice, so I'm getting the screwdriver in and trying to wedge it around and get it out of there. We're making a little bit of progress, but it's slow progress. Right, so for those that work on bikes and old bikes and whatever else, and cars for that matter, and all those sorts of things, it's always about problem solving, looking at problems in different ways. So I've been muscling around with this and mucking around with it for ages, and I've just had a thought. What if the issue is the bolt is, you know, sort of bound up inside this collar, this little sort of sleeve here. What if we grab that with a set of vice grips and then turn on that, and it should start to pull free of whatever, you know, is gunked up and all the rest of it with chain lube and stuff like that. So let's give that a go. Yo! Why was that so hard? Gosh, it just, yeah, rusted itself in there, hey? Alright. All in bits and pieces, but there is finally the old chain roller out. It's got a little bit of a locating thing in there. We need to keep an eye on that. But come on, baby. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Beautiful. Right, let's get this pin cleaned up. This bolt. Got a bunch of grease on it. I've just jammed some grease in here, not so much to grease the bearings, but it's got a little sort of internal collary thing, you know, between two bearings. You need a little spacer to keep the bearings apart, and it just slips down and just doesn't sit in there properly. So I'm worried about I'm going to get it in there and try and put the bolt through, but the bolt's going to get jammed on the little spacer. So jamming some grease in there should lock that little spacer into place nicely. Chain roll it in. Come on, girl. There you go. Good. Stay there. Through there with the greatest of ease. Come on. The greatest of ease. Not the greatest of ease. Where are you getting stuck on? Come on. Oh, yes. Yes. Beautiful. Okay, let's get the nut on before it all falls apart. Right. That helped a lot. Ah, that worked perfectly. Cool. That is solid as a rock there. Now we'll tighten this guy up and get onto that nut behind it with our 13mm. Thank you guys before for letting me know the size. Alright. How good is that? Let's see. Oh, still sounds pretty feral, but at least we know it's not on metal to metal anymore, you know. fits on the chain roller perfectly, so that's good. Chain roller is working and doing its job. Awesome. And as you guys can probably see, this is our next little job here. We're going to see what we can do about this. It's not looking too flash at the moment. I'm not sure if I can feel a bolt hole there or not, so let's check it out. What can we see? Well, you guys can't see much. So, fortunately we still have a bolt hole there by the looks of it. So that's a good start. It's just finding a sort of big enough washer and whatever to fit, because it's got this massive hole there. So we need to find a huge washer or something like that, and then the right size bolt. Let's see what we're working with here. Well, it seems to be threading in. So this is where it pays to be a bolt hoarder, because I've got a whole couple of drawers full of different bolts and things, and some of them are looking very, very good. That guy there, he's got a big head as well, which is awesome. Makes it nice and easy to get some washers. I reckon that could be our guy. I do have this one that looks almost like it's supposed to be. It's got this massive washer head. This one here, and then a little like recessed bit and lip and butt. But I don't know if it'll actually, I'd say it's probably going to pull through as well and not be big enough. Oh, it might be. There's enough washers, so let's try that guy out, because that guy looks really good. Let's see if he's the right thread. Ooh, it's looking big. It's looking like it could be too big. Yeah, he's no good, unfortunately. As always, boys and girls, do what I say, not what I do. I'm resorting to a bit of motorbike violence here. Don't do this. Big old self-tapper into this guy here. Hopefully it'll hold, you know. Okay. Washers on washers. Oh, that's going to be a bit tricky actually, isn't it? Because I'm not going to be able to get a spanner in there. Yeah, well, you got to work with what you got. Wow, that worked. Oh, that worked. So you can see up in there maybe a nice little bolt, and she ain't hanging down any more. Focus, there we go. So I'm calling that one problem solved, ladies and gentlemen. Problem solved. I'd like to take a quick little break here in between jobs on the 200 to thank my Buy Me a Beer supporters. I really appreciate you guys. Makes a huge difference to what I do and my filming and everything else that happens on the channel, so really appreciate it. Cheers to you guys. This one goes out to Mr. Dan, so thank you, Mr. Dan, for being a supporter of the channel. Really, really appreciate it. And obviously, subscriber shout out as well goes to Mr. Dan. Love your work, mate. I'm enjoying watching you out riding on Macca46's channel as well. Always, always, always entertaining. So yeah, cheers to my Buy Me a Beer supporters. On to our next job now, and we're going to have a little play with these mirrors. Now, I've never used these exact mirrors before. I always use those little round bar end mirrors, but these looked very similar on eBay, so yeah, we'll have a go. We'll see how they go. I just couldn't find those normal round ones that I use. If you guys want to check out the how to fit underbar mirrors, it'll pop up in a card, or you can search it on the channel, because there's a video out about it, and they are amazing, amazing little mirrors. But anyway, we'll have a crack at these ones, see if we can get them on. Let's go. We can do something like that. It does not look like they're going to work, eh? It does not look like they're going to work. Oh yeah, that looks pretty neat, doesn't it? Woo! That could work. If we can get these in here, we might be on a winner. They've got this weird blue tinge to them. I don't know about that. I don't know if we're going to be able to see anything. Oh well, we'll give that a shot. See how they go. Got a reasonable amount of adjustment, I think. Alright, let's give them adjustment and see what we can see, hey? Right. Okay, underbar mirrors version 2.0. Are they good? Nah. Would I get these ones again? No. The round ones are so much better, so much easier to fit. These are really wonky and a bit whack, and they've got that weird blue tinge to them, which is really quite hard to see. But we'll test them out again, as always, and see how they go. Yeah, we will see how they go. Now, finally, we've got some indicators to go on. So this little guy here is the only sort of indicator left we've got going on the bike. We've got everything else ripped out. So we just need to, like I said, make it look like we've got indicators, and I will be very happy. So let's start to fit these up and see what we can see. So Matt can sit there. The other guy can sit over here somewhere. Happy guy. This is so bad. Oh! Okay, that's tight enough. When you hear a crack, that'll do. Now, it looks like it has front indicators, so we are good to go on the front. Look at those bad boys. Yup. Wiring, we don't need that where we're going. Yup. Man, these are so bad. So bad. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is some rear indicators. We are good to go. How good's that? That was so simple. Love that. KTM 200 Resurrection Video 2 completed. So we did brake pads, flushed all the brake fluid in the rear and bled the brakes, so that was awesome. Brakes should be fantastic and ready to go for the next ride. Then we moved on to that chain roller, had a few difficulties as you guys would have seen there with that bolt, and as always a 5-minute job isn't always an hour job once you get into it. Anyway, that got done, so that's awesome. Brand new chain roller in there. We fixed up the chain guide as well, so that was awesome to get that done. Everything's awesome apparently, the way I'm talking right now. Then we did the mirrors. The mirrors seem to be alright. Again, we'll test them out when we go for a ride. And then we got the indicators on, making it look somewhat road legal. So happy with all those jobs. We've got a lot of cosmetic stuff to do on the bike still, but some of the mechanical stuff is getting done, which is fantastic. So thank you guys for sticking around and hanging out in the shed with me tonight, having a few drinks and just working on the bike. I've loved it, it's been fun. So don't forget to hit subscribe, do the notifications, drop a comment below, let me know what you think I should actually do to the bike eventually, long term, and that's about it. So I'll see you guys on the next video.